there are so many people who have had their experience of moksha. They've had that realization of their essential vastness, but then making that a natural reality of the collective is something that really needs a lot more light and a lot more fire, a lot more work. And that's what
Mhm.
seems to be the role of Agni. And then Mitra. That's why the more Agni is kindled in the vastness of Aruna, then Mitra is facilitated.
Mitra is him, yes. When he is totally kindled, it becomes the divine consciousness. But when is fire totally kindled? Yeah. Do we
Satyam.
have? Uh,
Satyam, that can only happen when there is the the concrete realization of the essential oneness underlying everything.
mhm.
So where there is no darkness left, no,
Yeah. Yeah.
any ignorance, anything that characterizes our differences, anything. I mean, the slightest perception of fundamental difference in Vyavahara
Mhm.
is an obstacle to the full action of Mitra.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. So
Um,
vastness, instead of darkness, there is vastness. Instead of substantial kind of obstacle, there is a purity. Purity. What does it mean, really? Purity. This is a kind of a difficult question. Yeah. What is purity? What the other grades of purity? Is this more pure? This less pure? What is absolute purity? Yeah? It's absolute transparency, most probably, absolute acceptance of everything, whatever is there. Yes, it is transparently taken in, accepted, finding its proper place. Everything is in its proper place. This is the purity. There is no admixture. There is no misunderstanding, misplacement. Yeah.
in terms of the triad of Satyam, Ritam, Brihat, I would understand purity as the action of Ritam in its fullness. So dynamic truth in action, where the ideal and the manifested there is no gap between the two. So
Yeah.
what is, it's like that.
Yeah, you just added a dynamic aspect. I was speaking more statically, as in the vastness, everything is seen in its right position to everything
Exactly.
else.
Exactly.
So, but once you make it dynamically moving, and it could maintain that, harmony of relations
Correct.
in the
Correct.
action, that would be
Correct.
really that dynamic truth. Yeah.
Correct. Correct.
Hmm.
Because for that, I mean, every single trace of personal movement has to be eliminated in the super dynamic nature of the existence of self. Even if there is the slightest wind of personal preference or personal whatever,
Hmm.
then it will disturb the harmony. It's quite powerful, actually.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, these are the fundamentals which once we think about them, these are the archetypal, forms of understanding of our reality, and they are so needed because they are really purifying our mentality and putting everything in the right hierarchy of relations that we can really always find the right answer. Because if we don't understand these fundamentals, then we are just living mechanically or automatically or something. And we are reacting to.
To add something here, Anuradha and Vladimir, that I think personality, personal, we have to understand it a little properly, because in our yoga and in all yoga which is about manifestation, personality has to be maintained. In the otherwise in the cosmic consciousness you don't bring in, but the true personality, the psychic personality.
Mhm.
But the whole thing of staying here in manifestation and carrying on. I remember Amal once told me that even when we become all supramental, there will be more affinity for one to the other, more that will not go away. but it will not be on the basis of ego, but the psychic truth. So personality has to stay, but the true personality, the second boon of Nachiketa. I just want to add this, if I have correctly understood.
Sure. Yeah, well, yes. The dynamic truth without personality is even impossible, because it is built on this, that there are focal points of this infinity, and these are the true personalities, psychic, representatives of the Supreme One in focal points, or in this individual unique representatives of the Supreme, which collect the whole vision of the One in their unique tapestry, in a unique perception, and have unique relations. And that actually what he wanted. He wanted to create this world, Bahusyam, may I be many. Yes, that's the whole point. He, the Supreme, wanted to be many, and that is the psychic being. It is in him, yes, in many local focal points of his perception, that he is viewing himself now anew, and he has relations, unique relations with oneness and with each our focal point, which generates more and more of this bliss. Yeah? And that's the whole point of the manifestation, to generate more bliss, infinite relations, uh, yes, within himself. Something which our mind cannot, my mind stops thinking at this point, has nothing to add, just to feel at awe, like, oh, what is all this about? So here we are. He is Varuna when he is compressed in his purity, the birth, when he is being born. Interesting. When there is a pressure, when there is a friction, in that moment when he is born, when the heat is being generated, concentrated, and the substance is ready to flame, the being is ready to, when it is ready, when it is pure, when it is purified, when it is heated up, and then it flames. And when it flames, it becomes a light of knowledge, which illumines everything, which shows all the relations in a true way. And that is Mitra. And when it answers from the beyond to our call, to our offering, when we offer from this side, from this lower hemisphere, he comes as a lightning from above and illumines all the darkness from within. And then, Tuvam Aryama Bhavasi Yat Kaninam Nama Svadhavan Guhiyam Bibharshi Anjanti Mitram Suddhitam Nagobhih Suddhitam na Gobhih Yad Dampati Samanasakranoshi. This is something very mysterious. O thou who possesses this self-ordering nature, Svadhavan, thou becomest the might of the aspirer, that is Aryama, when thou bearest the secret name of the virgins. They brighten thee with the light of her rays of as love perfectly founded, when thou makest of the one mind the Lord and his spouse in their mansion. So there are several footnotes. Aspirer, Aryaman, the aspiring power and action of the truth. The name of the virgins, probably the unripe radiances that our aspiration has to prepare for their union with the higher power of the soul. Aryaman holds their secret sense, the name or numen, which is manifested when aspiration arrives at the light of knowledge and Mitra harmonizes soul and nature. That is the Lord and his spouse. Mitra is the Lord of love, and the soul and nature. The mansion is the human body. So when in the human body, the soul and nature are totally harmonized by Mitra. Now look at these unripe radiances. It's something very psychological. There is something in us, in this aspiration, which seeks the truth, which wants the truth, but it is not purified. It goes through our mental, vital formation. It is misled by our languages, by our cultural upbringing, by our expectations in the vital, by our mistakes, misunderstandings, and so on. So there is in every action of consciousness, there is the grain of truth, or the quintessential truth of why this at all takes place, why this expression at all is manifested from within. But it is misled by many, many things. They are not yet ripe. They are not yet totally clear in their aspiration. So that's what Mother says, that when we communicate, we always miscommunicate, because we always take what others say in our own context. We do not see the truth of their message. So that deeper truth is there, but it is not even for that person who speaks, it is not, he is also not aware about it totally. He is partially aware of it. He is driven by it, but he speaks something else. He maybe criticizes you for something, but he meant to say something else. So his true aspiration, true virgin was hijacked by other powers, and he imperfectly expresses himself. But he is seeking something totally different to express. And he can't do it because his nature does not permit him to do it. So Aryaman, our aspiration power, knows the secret name of these aspirations, their true purpose. He knows. And he can purify them, actually, and remove all those, things which are obstructing the understanding of this true aspiration. It's very psychological, very beautifully expressed. Aurobindo gives us really the keys. And only then, Anjanti, they purify. You see, they purify and brighten you, Agni, as Mitra, as this illumining harmony, consciousness, the God of love, with their illuminations. Then every expression of consciousness becomes the expression of love, actually. Even if it shows itself as expression of hate and criticism, it is actually, in its core, is the flame of love. Only it has to be purified. It has to be found there. Making the soul and nature equal and with one thought in their mansion, in their human body. So that is the bridge. That's how the bridge is built between our psychic flame, between our true aspiration and purpose, and our outer being. So there, these virgins, these unclear aspirations, powers, which have to be purified by Aryaman. Look at this beautiful picture. Yes, Anuradha, you wanted to say something. There is much to say. There is such a beautiful image that so much charged with meaning that you can move in any direction now, and everywhere it would be right to move. Once you know that secrecy of these aspirations within us. Guhyam, Nama. An interesting Nama, name. That means nama is name as the intention, the hidden intention. So,
It's interesting because it's the concept of virgins as radiances. Uh, it seems to connect to the fact that underlying everything there is light itself is it's like a pregnant light but not yet impregnated. So light only can give rise. So the concept of the virgin, that she is the creator. So it has to be a radiance that is at the source. It cannot be a darkness that is at the source of this. There has to be a radiance. But that radiance has not been impregnated with the by Aryaman, with the truth seeing, no, the truth moving. So it's that. And the name is very interesting there because the name is the form, is a very specific movement of consciousness in a particular expression.
mhm. It's a comprehension, it's understanding. That
Uh-huh.
understanding is lacking.
No, and it's also a name is a very particular expression of consciousness. The
Yeah,
moment you name something, you
then
define it as different from the rest.
yeah, that's how you understand. That's why I say it's understanding.
Huh.
Yeah, they are connected. Comprehension is connected with the name, yes, and nama, and rupa, rupa with the form, as we
Correct.
always say. So you see the form, but to understand what it means, you need a name. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, and you notice kaninam, kani,
Hmm.
this small one, or virgin. Virgin is an interesting word. It's a little bit religious, like Virgin Mary, you know. That means um,
Purity. It has a sense of purity also.
purity and originality, something original, which is not made up with different forces,
Hmm.
which is by itself existing. Yes, these aspirations within the nature, they are these kanis, these are kanyas. Yeah, they are moving constantly, but once they reach to the surface, they are so much loaded with other powers of mind and vital, so we don't even recognize them when they are expressed. So
Yeah,
that has to be purified. Yeah.
it's interesting because it's a bit like the concept of that immaculate conception, no?
Mm.
Like it has to give birth without going through the process of that, uh, the impurities of personalized self.
Right. Anyhow, for me, it is absolutely explaining the psychological phenomenon why we cannot really properly communicate on the surface, because all our true intentions are hijacked and even perverted, even made like enemies to ourselves and others, turned against the very core, the very reason why they are there. Yeah, when once they are hijacked, you can see. Mother speaks about this when, about love, and people say I love you. The vibration comes as I hate you. This is exactly that. Person wants to, but that word I love you is hijacked by so many forces that very movement of the truth is already, um, even if it is saying it, it doesn't mean it already. It is charged with other powers, and but in its core, in its truth, in its this very quintessential truth, it is there. It is still there. Even if person vibrates as I hate you, or I want to devour you and make a feast for myself and my aggrandizement, it is still the true love. Yeah. Uh, there's a beautiful book by Amal Kiran, um, Light and Delight, and there he tells us the story that Mother told him about creation. She's told him that all the beings are created perfectly as selves, and they don't need anybody else. So we are all a perfect replica of the one who is independent self. all the selves in the world. They are independent in a way, and this is something difficult to comprehend. But if there would be no force of love, we would stay without interaction. But the force of love pushed us out of our boundaries, of our these zones of comfort, and to interact with each other, to reach to each other in one way or another. And this kind of distortion of the ignorance in between makes that interaction painful. But it is the force of love. Otherwise, even people who torture others or come to them to hate them and to destroy them, that is the drive of force of love, which is distorted and hijacked by this ignorance in between. It's quite interesting. There is no other force, no
So
other
that's why I
truth.
said that Mitra only happens with a lot of kindling of Agni.
Mm-hmm.
Varuna can still be a feature of the individual, but Mitra has to be the feature of the collective.
Interactive,
More
yes,
so.
yeah, because it is a connection of consciousness to another. It is that interactive, because consciousness works as expression and interaction. It doesn't work without interaction. What does it mean? It just turns onto itself and then becomes like a pure mirror without any ripple on it. Yeah? With the moment it starts vibrating, it is acting. Okay, so here Sri Aurobindo describes all these beautiful devatas. In one of the letters Sri Aurobindo speaks, I indicate the psychological powers that they bring with them: Mitra harmony, Varuna wideness, Aryaman power, tapasya, Brihaspati wisdom, word and knowledge, Vishnu cosmic consciousness, Vayu life. For if the truth of Surya is to be established firmly in our mortal nature, there are previous conditions that are indispensable: a vast purity and clear wideness, destructive of all sin, crooked falsehood, and that is Varuna. A luminous power of love and comprehension, you see, comprehension, that understanding what you say, it must be interactive, leading and forming into harmony. Harmony requires several, not one. All our thoughts, acts, and impulses. This is Mitra, an immortal puissance of clear discerning aspiration and endeavor, that is Aryaman, a happy spontaneity of the right enjoyment of all things, dispelling the evil dream of sin and error and suffering, and this is Bhaga. It's also very interesting how he explains Bhaga. Yeah? So it's not just an enjoyment, it's not just the Ananda. It is sharing of the truth from Rudbhaj. Yeah? And how this sharing could happen, it's only when this evil dream, this kind of obstruction is dispelled. Yeah? These are the four powers of truth of Surya. So Aryaman is the one knows the secret sense of the unripe radiances of our aspiration in the heart, our psychic being. He holds the secret meaning of their nature and their growth. For they are kani, small, virgin, unripe, not yet fully manifested. So like virgins in a sense that they're like children, like girls. Yes, they are not yet ladies who are ruling the world. They didn't come yet to rule. They are not yet manifested totally, as it were. But their secret meaning is profound, similar to Guhyam Nama Gonam in the next verse. We will see it in the next verse. Thus, he can focus them in their growth towards the goal of their aspiration. So these radiances of our psychic aspiration towards the divine have brightened up or anointed anointed Agni. So they are kind of clarifying, yeah, Anjanti, who shines now as loving Mitra. Thus they equalize and make nature and soul agree to collaborate. Samanasa Karinoshi makes them with one mind in the body. It is with the radiance of the psychic love that the nature can be included into and become part of the spiritual life and totally surrender to the divine. It is with these radiances that the gap between here and the beyond can be bridged and the psychic transformation can initiate the spiritualization and supramentalization of our being. And one more I will take because this is related to the previous. Tavar Shriye Maruto Marjayanta Rudraya Te Janima Charu Chitram. These Rudra and Maruts are coming. They are the purifiers of those relations in this lower hemisphere. Padam Yat Vishnu Upamam Nidhai Tena Pasi Guhyam Nama Gonam. For the glory of thee, O violent one, Rudra, the thought powers, these are the Maruts, make to shine out by their pressure that which is thy rich and beautiful birth. So the Maruts are cleansing the being to be kindled here in this lower hemisphere. When that highest stride of Vishnu has been established within, thou protectest by it the secret name of the herds of radiances. Again, these radiances are mentioned. Guhyanama Gonam. So there are two references. The beautiful birth, Janima Chitram of Ocharo Janima. Yeah? The bright, beautiful birth of Rudra, Te, Yat Te Janima. Janiman is Janman, yes, the same word. So the two references, three. The beautiful birth is the supreme world of light. Agni is said elsewhere to become in his being the highest of the shining worlds. 32. About Vishnu and his strides. Vishnu has three strides or movements, earth, heaven, and the supreme world, of which light, truth, and the sun are the foundation. And number 33, about the herds of radiances, the highest divine sense of the illuminations of knowledge is found in the superconscient worlds of supreme light. So, my interpretation, it is for you, for your glory, O Agni, named Rudra, that the Maruts, the powers of thought, polish your birth, beautiful and bright. When the most excellent realm of Vishnu is absolutely established within, it is by this establishment that you protect the secret name of the luminous herds of knowledge. Yeah. So here they come, Vishnu and Rudra together again. As Agni is and Indra in the previous, now he is Vishnu and Rudra. The highest stride of Vishnu would protect the meaning, the secret meaning of the rays of light, supramental light. And the birth of Agni here, a beautiful birth as Rudra, because Agni is Rudra's son, as we know. He is the manifestation here of Rudra in some form as the divine will towards the divine manifestation. And Maruts, interestingly, they are considered to be in many places as sons of Rudra. But on the vital and mental planes, they are like energies. They are the energies which are seeking the manifestation of the divine truth here. And as you remember, they were born from Diti. Diti was their mother, who wanted to bring the hero who could kill Indra, because she wanted to avenge the killing of Vritra by Indra. So she wanted to have a hero, and so for thousands of years she was in tapasya to produce the hero who would be stronger than Indra. And this is Diti, the mother of the lower hemisphere, of the darkness, of the dividing consciousness. And Indra secretly at the end entered into her womb and cut that womb into 33, sometimes more, 49 pieces. And these were the Maruts who were born. And since he touched them in the womb, they became like children to him, because he became their father. He shaped their form. So they became friends with him. And by them, with their help, he can enter now into the lower hemisphere. They are the seekers of light, Maruts. They're seeking the truth in this manifestation. And they can go in any direction. There's nothing which can stop them to move in any direction. They can go and look for the light and the truth in the darkness. They don't mind doing it. And then what is interesting, in one of the places it is described that when they reveal their shining weapons, they see that the light of these weapons comes from the light of Indra, as it were. So he secretly charged them with his own light of the sun, and their weapons are carrying that light. Yeah? It's in another place. Basically, what we are doing with this hymn, we are going through all the major fundamentals of Vedic vision or psychology, because all the gods will be mentioned here. So we have to see their relations to Agni. So now Maruts are also Agni, on the vital and mental plane. These are the thought energies, mental energies, which are seeking the truth. They want to find the truth. They do not know why they are doing it. But there's something inherent in them, intrinsic in their nature, which is pushing them to seek the truth and to find it wherever it may be. They are kind of ignorant forces, but they are driven by the truth. So they don't mind to enter into any darkness and so on. Okay, maybe we stop here today and continue from this number 3. There's much more to say, especially about this being established, Nidhai. This is basically the aorist passive voice, yes, without augment.
Vladimir, I just had one question.
Yes,
How do Maruts live at the vital plane?
Well, they are in the middle world, in Antariksha, yes? Their place is there. And these are the winds, basically, Vayu, yeah? That's Marut. These are the vital forces, or the mental energies in the vital plane, if you want. We defined this once with Matthias as mental energies on the vital plane. Because it's kind of, they are operating there and here. And they are Brahmins, by the way, who are warriors. Brahmins with weapons. Can you imagine? Some kind of very weird combination.
Yeah, it's quite interesting to think. I'm just trying to
Yeah, with
imagine.
Maruts, yes. They are like the words, like mantras, like the driving powers of the mental energies searching for the truth. Many times I think that they are maybe even connected with Brihaspati in some way. If Brihaspati is a pure expression of the heart, then these are the formations in the already manifested world by deity, but they are still charged with the truth. Yeah, and they are like Brahmins seeking the manifestation of the truth through the word, through aspiration in the mind and in the vital. They are very violent in their expression. They are fighters for the truth. They have that power of Rudra. They are his sons.
There's just another completely different way of looking at the whole thing. Is if one, I'm trying to sort of understand it from a physical physics point of view also. So if you look at the individual as being a sum total of vibrations, and a particular expression of a mantra being a certain sound formation in the being. So with that particular vibratory pattern, it determines the kind of space that is generated, no? Vibratory space. Can you think of it like that? So if you look at it
Yeah,
as
very
vibratory,
nice, very nice. I love it. Yeah, it's
because
a
if you look at it as
tantric.
vibratory space, then
Mhm,
there is in that space there is the movement of prana.
mhm,
So that movement of prana in the space that is generated by the word plays a very important role. That's why pranayama, nadis, all of that
mhm,
become very interlinked. The whole movement of the nadis and the subtle prana shaktis
mhm,
move.
mhm, mhm.
So the
And they are
word,
purifying the beautiful birth of Agni as Rudra.
so
This is beautiful. Yeah.
the word formats. So the word is a vibratory movement that is an expression of the thought and emotions or
Mhm,
whatever. And but with those vibratory patterns, the spaces that are generated are the movements where vayus move. So if it is
mhm,
very cramped with the thoughts and emotions and all, then the vayu, then it's the prana that can unleash. You know, that's one way of unleashing the blocks.
mhm, mhm.
It's a very different
Very
approach to.
nice. I like it very much. Yes, it's it's exactly most probably that how by the word, by mantra, by repetition, by svadhyaya, you're cleansing, and bringing to birth the flame, which is Rudra, manifested as Rudra force, as the truth inbuilt in nature. Transformative power of Agni, because Rudra is transformative power actually. And it is supported, that secret meaning of it is supported by the highest step of Vishnu, stride of Vishnu in the highest heaven. The meaning of it is there, can be found in the realization of the supramental highest. There the meaning is, why it is happening here. Great, I have to sign out because I have another meeting. And okay, so I will close with mantra. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha Sarve Santo Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.